Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again for another art journal page start to finish. Before we start, I need some advice, and who better to ask than the good people of internet land. Now, if you have a large Dilutions art journal like mine, what do you do when it starts becoming too bulky? Now, just bear with me a sec, I'm getting old. Mine is about halfway through. Okay, and I've done about 23 pages, double page spreads in my book. And there's still all this paper here in the end. Now I know that by the time I do another 5 or 6 pages, it's going to start opening up and getting wider and wider, because this is the one that I use a lot of texture paste and embossing paste in. So it's going to get thicker and thicker and thicker, and I know before I get to the end of this, then I'm going to start losing pages. So what do? Do you cut them out? Do you stick pages together, which kind of doesn't lose any bulk, if you know what I mean? So what do? If you've got a large Dilutions art journal and your pages are quite thick and bulky, what do you do about managing the spare pages at the end? Now I know some people work from the back into the middle and from the front, or turn it over, or randomly use the pages so it's completely all the way through, just pick a random page. But if you've come across this problem, tell me how you've overcome it. So just leave me a comment in the boxes below and tell me how you've achieved or got round that problem of the spare pages in your art journal. Okay, so without further ado, because I think I've rambled on for long enough, let's get on and do the next art journal page, which again is from this week's prompt, which is week 18, I think it is, for journal 52, and the prompt this week is for observation. So you can see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start off with my Neocolor 2s, and rather than crayon onto the page, I'm actually going to put the water on the page first and then bring the colour from the crayon onto the page. Now, out of the set of 30 that I've got about 5 different brown or earth tone shades, and I'll be using each one in turn. I didn't actually realise that the colours or the names of the colours were actually on these crayons. It wasn't until I'd actually got the white one in my hand and I was showing that to the camera that I realised that it does actually say the names. So I don't know which colours these are. All I can say is that my set of 30 I've used all of the earth tones. So I'm bringing the colour onto the page, making sure there's plenty of water, and all I'm doing is allowing the paint to flow freely and pool. I'm not really painting anything particular. It's an abstract kind of background that I'm building up using, or will be building up, using the different colours and different layers. Just out of interest, if you're wondering, I have speeded this up to twice its normal speed. I tried doing it at 3 times, but you tended to lose bits in it. So I've tried to keep the length of the video down as long as, well, to as short as I possibly can do. But in this instance, it does take a while to do. So I have edited out many of the heat tool sequences as I can without losing anything in the process. So this is where I start to bring in the second colour, which is a deep dark brown. As I said, I don't know the name of this colour, but it is one of the darkest browns in the set. So I'm just randomly adding colour all over the page, no particular order, no particular thought in mind, no particular pattern, just free forming and allowing the paint and the pigment to do whatever it wants. normally when I do a page like this where there's no particular direction that I'm going in, I know what I want to achieve, but it's allowing the paint to do its own thing. I normally have a kind of what I call crafted panic, which is that nagging doubt as to whether or not you're going to actually achieve what you want to do, or whether you're going to be wasting your time, or whether it's going to turn into some form of abomination. But this time, for some strange reason, I felt just so relaxed and so chilled out that it didn't really matter. I just wanted the colour to go down in random bits, random patterns, and so I didn't really care whether it went, you know, a bit wrong, because there is no wrong and there is no right when we're doing something like this. So this is brown colour number 3. This one has some reddish overtones to it. You can't really see from the video, but it does have almost a terracotta kind of look to it when it first goes on. Where I'm using the tissue or piece of kitchen roll is where the water starts to pool, and I didn't want it to just sit there, and because it would cause the page to buckle too much. I'm not too bothered about a little bit of buckling, but you know, I needed just to remove some of the excess water off there. So that's what the tissue was for, just gathering up and just taking it from the creases. So now this is, I don't need to know what colour this one is, this is the black. So this was where I started adding in some of the real deep dark colours. It's funny looking at it now, it's starting to look to me like some sort of khaki camouflage, like a soldier's uniform. I'm not going for that, but well, you'll see what I'm going for, but it just looks that way. So I'm now coming back in again with some of the previous colours that I'd used, just to go over the black. I didn't want the black just to sit on the surface, I wanted it to blend in, so I brought some of those colours back in again, and I'm going to be going over and laying patches over the top of the black. I didn't mention earlier at the beginning, but I did not gesso my pages first. I've just gone straight onto the bare page of the Dilutions journal. I've not added any gesso, which in hindsight, I wonder what it would have looked like if I had have done. So coming back in again with that original first colour, which when it goes on and dries, it does actually look like a sand colour, almost like golden sand, Mediterranean beach. There you go, that's got me thinking now.
I think it's starting to resemble one of those ink blot images you get on a psychological test. So coming back in with the black just to add a few more layers to the page. It's all starting to dye back now, so I'm just intensifying the colour in some of the areas around the page, but not everywhere. Okay, starting with I'm going to be adding the last of the neo colours now, which is the white. There you go, no names needed. And this one wasn't as opaque as I thought it was going to be. I've never used the white before, it was brand new, never touched it, and I thought it would be a lot more opaque than what it actually is. The colour almost dies back into nothingness when it dries. Okay, so I'm done with the neo colours now. That is Burnt Umber from Do Crafts, and it's their Artiste range. And this is just an acrylic paint, just a very, very inexpensive acrylic paint. And all I've done is mixed it with a little bit of water, and I'm using one of the larger brushes that I've got to add splatters all over the page. And this is the Do Crafts Artiste Noir Black, which I'll be doing the same. So this next one is the chocolate brown. I'll be doing the same thing again, mixing it with some water. I want quite a lot of this on, so I've mixed quite a bit, and I'm going to give it a real good coating of splatters with this. Next colour that I'm going to use again is the Do Crafts Artiste Metallic Gold this time, Antique Gold I think it is. There you go. Now one of the disappointments that I had with this paint was it went on beautifully, it splatters lovely across the page, and when it dries it's so rich and so metallic and it really does shine. However, not under the light. Whenever I tried to lift the book up to the journal up to show you the sheen from that metallic paint, got nothing. So it really is difficult for you to see, and I haven't been able to pick it out in any of the photographs either. It's just one of those things, you'll just have to take my word for it. That metallic paint is spectacular. Okay, so I'm now ready to add in my first focal point on my page. Now this was an image I found off the internet, which I've cut out on DeviantArt, a website called DeviantArt. And the artist that did this is called Stife2014. So if you do a search on DeviantArt, you'll find this. This is the all-seeing eye. I did toy with the idea of painting this onto the page, but I'm just not good enough to be able to achieve the sort of effect that I would have wanted for this page. So if in doubt, go to the internet and find a collage piece. Okay, so this is a Sharpie poster pen, and all I'm doing is just adding in a little bit more white to the catchlight on the eye of the all-seeing, because it wasn't shining, well, it wasn't white enough for me. So I've just added that catchlight in. And this is the Do Crafts Artiste white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to add the final splatter layer all over. Now you can see me using my hand there as a mask because I didn't want to get any on the actual eyeball itself, so I've just worked around it. Now making sure that all of the layers there are real good and dry before I move on to my next piece. So again, adding the matte medium onto the page for my quote panel. Now this was a backing piece or backing image that I had in my digital stash, if you like, and I typed out my quote over the top and then printed out just on my home printer. Now I did this on an inkjet printer. And I know my inkjet printer works really well with the matte medium. It doesn't pull any of the colour out, so I don't need to use a laser for it. Now it did get a crease right the way down the middle. It just appeared from nowhere, and I don't understand where it came from. It's not taking anything away from it. It actually just adds a bit more realism to it, that's all. So again with the white paint, just mixing a little bit with the water, and then I'm going to blend the quote panel with the white splatters over the top. I'm just going to mask out certain areas, so I don't want any of the white paint to go onto the actual writing. So I didn't realise I looked out of shot when I took this, but I'll move it back in a second once I've wiped up the paint. Okay, it was at this point when I was drying that layer of white that I thought that it was missing something. It needed something to pull or connect the all-seeing eye with my quote. And I racked my brains trying to think what I could use. And then of course I thought about my favourite stencil from TCW. This is Art Is, and the Ranger Potting Soil Archival ink. So I'm using that, and I'm just going to add some text effects to link the two items together on the page. So you'll see that it does actually put it all together in the end. I'm just going over that corner piece again because I wasn't quite happy with how dark it was, so I decided in a bit more colour. And all that's left to be done now is just to stamp the date and sign it, and I'm calling that page finished.